Hello and welcome to Farscape.
A fun-filled Farscape fan cast by a fervent fan.
And a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay, and this is Stories So Farscape.
Hello, Kay.
Hi, Kaki.
Or, as they say in Spanish, buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Or, as we learned in the excellent sort of Spanish lesson segment of the Dutch comedy program Creatief met Kurk from way back when, sombreros. Sombreros, Jose. What's in your basket?
Oh, una paquera papura papera.
Y unas papas.
Una papera. Anyway, this little makes no sense to anybody in the English-speaking community.
Nor would what Crichton has been jammering lately. Like, he's peppering a lot of Spanish in his words lately.
I noticed, yes.
How did they land, do you think, in the old translated microbes?
I assume they would just, pick them up.
Okay, yeah, by the way, this is season 4, episode 6, Natural Election, but we're already into it. No, but, think about it. When you choose specifically a word in a second language, not even a loan word, right, that you and presumably the receiver know, then there is additional information. Like, you're not just using the meaning of the word, you're also choosing this other language, which has additional information. So how do you convey that?
It depends on how the translator microbes work, I suppose.
Effortlessly so far.
Yeah, so clearly why would they have a problem with this?
Okay, then what does it look like for Sikozu?
Well, she was delighted. You could see the expression on her face, especially in the beginning. One of the first opening shots, you can just see this look of absolute delight on her face when she's looking at John, when he's counting in Spanish.
Okay, but he's also about to predict a scientific miracle.
But I don't get the impression that that's what she's...
You think she likes the Spanish?
I think she's all about the languages. She's the language wonder.
That's true. I mean, by necessity.
I know, but still.
Right? Okay.
I mean, I just got that impression when he was doing the Spanish countdown, and she was just looking. Everybody else is looking at the view screen and seeing what's going to happen, but she was looking at John.
I know that I did it by accident by jumping in, but I kind of think it's appropriate that we sort of sucked into discussing it immediately. Because, man, Natural Election, I'd sort of forgotten about it. It is an episode-ass episode, isn't it?
It is. It's interesting. It's so we have basically the crisis going on, which is, just the crisis, and then there's a few other things happening at the same time.
I mean, it's kind of cool that it's a plant thing.
Yeah, but it's also kind of weird. So
yeah.
Anyway, we still need to talk about what our listeners said about this episode.
Yes, exactly. Because they showed up once again.
All right, so what happened to the stars? See plant, shoot plant is Dargo's favorite motto. It turns out that no one can keep a secret, and onions everywhere. The old lady sure knows how to make good salad. Thank you, Going Metal $7.99.
After straying too close to a wormhole, the crew are in the weeds. Oh, I like that. No matter how much Dargo enjoys shooting things, it may not be the answer to their problems. Luckily, the houseplants are as fond of grasshoppers as everyone else is. Time to break out my first chemistry set. What could go wrong? Thank you, Marky See.
And some weird space plant. Moya's in pain. The witch's brew is down the drain. Ski goggles on. Please don't tell John. We're all screwed up. Let's try again. And thank you, Rick, from the Delta Quadrant for another zinger.
Yeah, it's season 4, episode 6. And man, this feels like such a... I think even Ben Browder called it just a regular old ship show.
That's a very good way to put it, yeah.
We've got a new writer. She hadn't contributed before. That's Sophie C. Hopkins, and according to David Kemper, she just got it straight away.
Yeah, Dr. Water.
Yeah, lots of fun, some good banter. It's a bit scary.
It's a little. It's typical, science fiction episode. Scary.
Yeah.
It's there's a crisis. Oh.
And so the lights are off and you can't see very much.
Yeah, that was a lot of very daring artistic choice to film it like that.
Yeah, right.
Well, there was a lot of dark stuff going on, but it was well done, I think.
I think so too. We haven't seen it that dark since Eat Me, I think, in season 3.
Ooh.
Right? On Cannibal Leviathan.
So, yes.
I've got a button for it. Come on, we'll be...
Oh, yes, of course.
Prepare to starburst!
Well, no starbursting this episode.
No, none at all.
I'm almost surprised that it never even got suggested as a solution.
There was a time when it was their solution for everything, wasn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
They were still in the running away phase of things. They seem to be slightly more out of that. John is predicting a wormhole. Everybody's kind of like skulking around on the command, waiting for this to happen. Apparently, Rigel is temporary captain. I get the impression that they decided to take turns.
I demand the same respect and obedience.
It's a rotating seat. The best solution to not make a choice
is to, well, they literally say, like, until we have our election.
Oh, yeah.
We're on a rotating, everybody's taking turns. And it's Rigel's turn, apparently. He is, yes, quite happily fulfilling the role. Also quite diligently, I would say. Something that, I mean, I guess he was a dominar of 17 billion people. And, you know, he knows responsibility. He just chooses not to exercise it most of the time.
Yeah, it's really noisy up on the command. I don't know why everyone is hanging out here.
Because they want to see the wormhole.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I like that Dargo has built another shield quinn.
Oh, yes.
Which is noisily tuning.
Much to Rigel's chagrin.
And Aeryn's as well. Because Aeryn's skulking around, like you see her sort of changing her mind a few times, pacing as much as Crichton is, because she wants to talk to him.
Yes.
Which eventually, after Crichton's countdown in Spanish, and then
nothing,
big disappointment, she plucks up the courage to turn to him and say, "Hey, can we talk?"
My quarters.
Yeah, all right.
And John's like, "Yeah, we can talk." And just as they're about to skulk off behind the bleachers, no, I'm very sure that wouldn't have been going on.
They got a little bit of eyebrow raising.
Suddenly the wormhole pops up anyway. So quickly before we go on to that, John's wormhole sense, okay, it's kind of like implied that he's not doing this through math, but he has developed himself a sort of third sense for wormhole.
A third sense, you say?
Or whatever, a fourth sense, fifth sense, like maybe four-side, five-side.
Much like some people have a four-head, and then there's folks like me who have a five-head, yes.
How many arms do you have? Well, you've got 2 arms, and you've got 2 forearms, so that's like...
That's 10 total. So we're squid. We're some form of cephalopod.
There we go. But yes, I mean...
Hold on. Do you know that 8 of those are arms and they've only got 2 tentacles?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's
weird cephalopods.
Yes, they're weird.
Sorry.
But yes, John, he seems to have, at least the implication is that he's not been mathing it. He's like sensing it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. They were really going for that. They talked about it in the visual companion book, that they wanted to be like more mystical than scientific.
Yeah, I mean, in the opening scene, you could go either way, but later on in the episode, when the wormhole appears again, it's very much like John is like, oh yeah, it's going to happen soon. You know, I'm not sure, but it's going to happen. I'm not sure when, but it's coming closer.
Yeah, I get that. There's a part of me that's disappointed because I'm a child of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I like the humanist, rationalist approach to the universe that everything is ultimately comprehensible and explicable because it makes sense. But I also kind of like this idea that, well, in the film Arrival and its particular take on the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, how language alters thought, cognition specifically, that the concept that there is knowledge that you can have that alters your perception of the universe, alters how you think. And I kind of dig that it's possible for this knowledge to exist in a mind. That's when the mind becomes capable of sensing the thing that the knowledge is trying to express.
That seems to make sense.
I mean, certainly when it's something higher dimensional.
Right. And we don't know what the ancients have instilled in John's brain other than the hidden away knowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there may even be like directional sense for migratory animals like birds that have magnetic sensitivity that they are not aware of.
No.
Right? They just make their decisions based on what they experience.
Turns out pigeons follow highways, though.
Huh.
They tend to follow roads, oddly enough, when they're going home.
There's other forms of input as well.
But yes, a wormhole appears. John is like, oh, yeah, we got it. Like, he doesn't try to do anything.
Everyone's really excited, by the way. Like, she's jumping up in celebration. They're hugging him because it is an incredible accomplishment.
The Fronic actually predicted a wormhole.
He did it.
Pilot is a little bit miffed, though.
This wormhole is a great deal larger and closer than your assurances.
You still call him in commander, actually, even though I guess it's just his title.
It's his rank.
Yeah. It makes sense, yeah.
Right, it still calls an officer.
Yeah.
And Crichton suggests, okay, backing off before Rigel asserts his authority and Crichton defers, yeah, whatever.
But it doesn't matter because the wormhole already disappears again, and moments later there's suddenly a big bang and all Dren breaks loose.
Yep. New crisis. We go to the credits. Return. Everything's bathed in red and mist. I've never seen Moya in red before.
Haven't we? Oh, okay.
I don't know. It just felt so richly saturated. I mean, it's a bottle show that takes place entirely on the established sets, and yet Farscape always manages to make the familiar look unfamiliar.
Well, they do have the weird fans in here.
Oh, yes. That was one of my only notes that I have, because I did my research as usual, and there is almost nothing about this episode. Among other things, because one of my latter-day key resources, the Snurcher's Guide, which is really excellent, had a feature that I really appreciated where they linked snippets from various message board chats with some of the creators to various episodes. And that hasn't been done for season 4, so I guess they sort of fell out of that, that habit back in the day. But like the only note that I was able to find, which came from one of the fun facts on the DVD, is that a new set was built by Tim Ferrier, the set designer, which...
Okay,
yeah,
so that's probably the fan room.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just going to say one thing on that. Those fans, they kind of look like they escaped from Breath of the Wild. You know, the divine beasts, what they're called.
Ooh.
And like these fans don't do anything. They're just like, if at any luck they stir up the air a little bit.
Hey, they might operate on principles that you're not aware of.
Yes, like we have fans we do not operate on aerodynamic principles. That sounds like very
much. You say that as if aerodynamic principles are understood, as if there is a theory of aerodynamics, which there isn't.
True.
Okay.
However,
okay, yes, go on.
A fan blade, which doesn't have any curvature to it.
It's got hollows.
Okay, so we're talking surface effects. Like, yeah, I'm not buying it.
Why not? Look, I've seen boats that are propelled by cylinders sticking up that are spinning.
Yeah.
And someone explained to me that these are sail?
It's a Magnus effect.
Oh, well, I happen to know the Magnus effect. Okay, yeah, that's where you can throw a basketball down the side of and if it's spinning, then it'll spin away from the... Yeah. So, what the Magnix effect is maybe what they're based on.
And then we've got this other weird fan, which is like almost into chomper territory, which we see right at the end, which have the two curved fan blades, again, which have absolutely no actual aerodynamic surface curvature to them.
We know of.
They're just chopping. It's just a meat grinder.
Yeah. Okay, what is a regular fan? If you put...
Kind of like a propeller, you know?
No, but any fan can be used like a meat grinder if you spin it fast enough, if it happens to be an Indiana Jones film.
But this one doesn't have, like, you know, what we recognize as aerodynamic properties.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. But it's spacey-wacy.
Yes.
Sciencey, wyancy.
Whatever.
Right?
Anyway. We've dwelled way too long on this subject already.
No, I'm sorry. You're completely right. None of it resembles anything that we would recognize as...
I guess that's my point. It kind of looks like a fan, but it doesn't have anything that we would recognize it as making it work like a fan.
Okay, so it looks like solutions that we would use, except...
They wouldn't work by way what we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. By our experience, that wouldn't work.
Right.
So then make it look like something else. And then, this is the fan. Like, we have got this weird ribbed surface and there's a flux effect or whatever. The Moya skin ripples are causing this, more like a peristaltic movement, creating an air stream. Well.
Now I really want like a Farscape The Next Generation where they can actually do that with sort of modern standards. Oh, okay.
So, pilots in distress. Rigel is also in distress.
What happened to the stars? What happened to the stars?
It seems to really bother him.
Yeah. It's pitch black out there.
Yeah.
Ooh, he didn't like mud. Maybe that's what it's sort of triggering for him.
Maybe. Yeah.
Lots of people have little moments of freakouts. Like later on when Chiana crawls up through the ducts to inspect how it goes.
I noticed that, yeah. She did not like what was going on up there.
No, she was just barely keeping it together.
I actually had that written down, yes. Like Chiana being oddly disturbed.
right? Before she even talks about what she saw, she says, okay, I'm definitely not going down there. You're going to send Rigel. Okay, you got to reassure me there. And then, okay, I also want my comms and I want my weapons. All right, okay. You can have that.
Like,
I've now got
like something freaked her out in there.
Some people have a safety blanket. She has a safety gun. Well,
yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
that still totally works.
I love Granny's glowy third eye, which we see several times during the episode.
We've seen that a couple of times before, and production designers had a sort of concept for like what the colors sort of mean, that they reflect her mood.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, a sort of blue for calm, purplish for like inquisitive, red for distress, passionate. But they also wanted it to be like non-obvious because she is a complicated woman. She is hundreds of cycles old and, well, doesn't appear to be all there, does she?
She does not. The Divine Eternal, I believe she's referred to. Like, have we heard that before?
Okay, so you're talking about the vote at the end?
Yeah.
I don't know how to interpret that. Yes, it could be that she was referring to herself as the Divine Eternal because she clearly cast a vote for it.
Yeah.
Or it might be a goddess or god or
that's possible
a
as
deity
well.
that she voted for. You know, like she voted for Elvis. Okay, well, cool. Wasn't on the ballot.
Right, yeah, okay, so that was it.
But, okay, they break up into teams very wisely. Aeryn, like, it's so business. Aeryn says, okay, we need to do a skin check because Moya can't sense
I'm like,
anything.
hold search, that's going to take a while with the ship to start to Moya.
Yeah, and so she brings some help, and the first person that's there is Chiana. That's how they sort of form teams.
Yeah.
Like, this needs to be done now. You
me.
with
me, yeah.
Okay, good. 2-person job. We're off doing that. Trusts Crichton to then figure out what's the next thing that needs doing. Well, basically the same, but from the outside. Dargo, you and me.
Yeah.
All right, everybody else, stick here.
Which is where we, the audience, get a shot of Moya from the outside, now covered in this briar bush, or...
Yeah.
It's almost like Spanish moss-looking stuff.
I like that.
But with purple things included. And shortly after, Dargo and John are cracking open a hatch and having a look on the outside. Take a little sample back.
Yeah. They alternately call it a plant and a fungus.
Yeah.
Which bothered me because they are completely different kingdoms of life.
No, true.
But okay.
But, you know, spacey, wacy, timey-wimey. We have those kingdoms here on Earth. Like, other planets might have entirely different...
And even then, those kingdoms are... sort of best effort.
Yeah, we'll see how it works. Meanwhile, Scorpius, who's stuck away in one of the cells, goes like, oh, hey guys, maybe it's like...
4. I mean 5. I mean fire. Sick It Crowd reference there.
I'll put the fire over here with the rest of the fire. Can somebody maybe come over here? It's like, we've got better things to do. Well, it's like things are on fire here, so maybe not.
Fire on a ship is our #1 priority, Chiana.
Sikozu is on the scene first, and she's already dousing the fire, which Chiana, when she arrives to an open door...
Yeah, Chiana is pissed. She does not like that.
Yeah, Sikozu even points out, does he look like he's trying to escape?
He probably set that fire.
Yeah, and to which he mentions, I did that, I'm very good, because there's another one right over there at the end of the corridor.
And then we see Sikozu doing her face again when she looks at Scorpius. How did you do that?
Sikozu is clearly enamored with Scorpius in one way, form, or the other.
It puppy love.
But yeah, she tells her off, kind of quite aggressively.
Yeah.
She and Sikozu are still a little bit... I mean, they work together fine on other places as well, but occasionally Chi still needs to show her who is top dog in this ship.
And also, like she rightly points out...
But we know Scorpius better than you do.
Very good, yes.
Dargo and Crichton, blasting their way through the exterior in Lola, get a good view of the ship.
Are we that far ahead yet? Yes.
Yeah. This episode goes quick. In fact, I mean...
Well, actually, it does go quick and then not at all. It's weird like that.
Hey, how about this? We blast through the plot and then we talk about the gossip. Because that's the A-plot, which is, you know, this peril, fairly simple.
True, yeah.
This plant has snuck up on Moya for its precious metals.
Yes, it's a metal dissolving plant. It's managed to get its way into the ship, spread its way around through the ship,
and it's more aggressive when attacked.
And so Sikozu says, "Don't shoot him, don't shoot him." Just after Dargo has professed his love for shooting things.
I've never actually put into words before. I love shooting things.
I love that.
And I'm really good at it. So, yes.
True to his word, like, it's very precise. Like, they blast this plant off the exterior of Moya, and nobody feels it.
Well, Sokoza goes like, oh, don't shoot. And Dark goes like, they didn't even notice it. See, that's how good I am. And, well, then, of course, like, yes, old Ren breaks loose.
Scorpius has noticed something funny, which is that the plant recedes when he approached it.
Yes.
And this sets into motion what felt like a very, like, sort of Star Trek The Next Generation, investigate the problem and solve it.
Yes.
What
are we going to do about this? It turns out that it's the cooling sticks.
Yeah.
Which then get investigated by Granny. Actually, Granny was the first one to discover that the plant is like quite capable of sensing things because it knows when it's being attacked, and it's definitely not a frog that sits in the pot while it's being slowly boiled because it eats its way through the pot.
Yes, is literally like demented through this episode. I know that that's a word that's used as an epithet, but like in the form of senile dementia, she sort of exhibits the flexibility of focus that people who experience senile dementia.
She's kind of always been like that. It didn't like strike to me as being particularly out of character. She's always been a little weird in her like drifting off into side things and not seemingly on the same plane of cognition as everybody else is.
Yeah. Which you have, hey, by the way, interpreted as deception.
Yes.
How do you feel about that now?
Less so. Like I said,
really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. I didn't get any particular feeling of her this time around that she had her own agenda. Which I have in all the previous occasions when this comes up. Then it feels like she's doing things. It felt like she was being sneaky, and I didn't get that impression here. She seemed to be
more
there was
strategy.
She seemed to be more distressed here about like her discoveries and the implications thereof and the solutions.
Yeah,
I didn't get a deceptive vibe of her this way.
No,
this time
I see
around.
what you mean. I mean, Farscape is not known for having characters with their own agendas that they take ages and ages to develop. And
hardly ever.
Secrets that are hidden in plain sight that you just don't notice about. No, you're right, exactly. It's a much more plain show because yes, they decide to like dilute the let's be fair glow stick juice.
Yes,
right. It's definitely that,
and then spread it through the ship by moving it into the fan room and letting it like waft around and thereby destroy the plant. But the plant is cunning and it manages to attack the one fan shaft, which is like a huge...
Yeah.
And break it up at several places where even the plant wasn't attached to it.
It crashes,
causes a bit
knocks
of an explosion
over the buckets,
almost. Yeah.
And the witch's brew
is down the drain. Okay, so the one thing that I kind of missed here is like Scorpius's protest, because like they basically asked collect the glow sticks, and it's a decent bundle, maybe like 20 or 30 of them.
And that's what he needs to stay alive.
Yes.
He doesn't have a new supply of those things.
No.
Like earlier on, Rigel, in an earlier episode, Rigel was taking great delight in just smashing some. But yeah, that's his cooling system.
Yes, and until they can get to like another commerce planet and pick up some more, which, I mean, I have no idea how common these things are.
Right? Considering the way he uses them, they might very well be custom made. Or, on the other hand, his cooling system, yeah, I'm thinking about it now. His cooling system was initially developed when he was quite young and still sort of moving about, so he would want replaceable parts. But that's when it was still in the backpack. I'm thinking about the moment when he was recruited into the Peacekeepers.
Well, it was he probably had it already, because it was the diagnostician who implanted the cooling system in his head.
So, in that scene, when he was given his first commission, he had tubes running from his head into a backpack.
Right.
So maybe the rods are like a next-generation version of the cooling system that are much more self-contained, but therefore also bespoke.
Yeah, perhaps. Although, I mean, if I had something like that installed, I would want something that you can get everywhere,
Well, if you have the choice between something you can get everywhere and something that you but need a backpack for,
right,
and something self-contained,
true.
Especially if you rise higher in the ranks, and
true. But even then, it's like if you're so dependent on it, you probably want to go for something that's at least not generally available, but not like you don't have to go to this one planet where
right
is the
it's an awful dependency,
right? So
okay, so with that all out of the way, Naranti has a realization where she sort of saves the day because she thinks chemistry is overrated and you're much better off by cooking things.
Yeah, she's a bit peculiar like that, yes. Stewing and cooking, and she tasting the plant and like, oh, what's this? And can I work it out flavor-wise? Much to Sikozu's chagrin, who is like much more about the scientific method, and she is not happy with the way Granny is approaching this matter.
It's a really interesting contrast, isn't it? Like for Naranti, science is much more experiential. Like she talks about how, like, when she eats some of the fungus and some of this, she can actually feel the fungus is dying, and she can sort of taste why it's happening through a very, like, intimate experience. Like, oh, yes, it's Centurium 4X. This is the sort of a pursing of the taste buds and lightly radioactive. You know, there's a little bit of crunch on the salad.
Yes, and they figure out, like, okay, we can do this. And this time it's like, how are we going to get that? She goes like, do you not know your own ship? Again, like, displaying her knowledge of Leviathans.
Yeah.
And goes like, this stuff is, like, very common. We have this on board. It runs in the whatever the ducts it is. That's
tubes and tubes of it.
So, plan is to actually go and distribute it through the ship.
Yep, saturate Moya with this gas, then ignite it, which will irradiate the ship. Not a problem for Chiana, because her skin reflects radiation as a Nabari.
We don't tan, but we don't burn either.
Yes, fair. John, not so much. He gets like some gold paint dabbed on his face even
That
before
looked
he
really
suits
cute.
up. Yes, it did.
Yeah. Aeryn says that she can handle it. Yes, okay, you can.
But the baby, yeah. Dargo also doesn't seem to be particularly affected by it. We don't see what happens to Naranti.
And Dargo has to stay aboard Lola in order to be able to use it, because the rest of the crew are hiding out in there to use her radiation shielding.
Except for Rigel and Scorpius, who are with Pilot.
Yep.
Apparently also not a problem for either of those two.
I guess as a healthy adult of certain species, you have a higher tolerance. Not Sikozu, who says that even a slight exposure to ion radiation.
Yes.
That's not how you pronounce ion.
Yes, no. But we'll kill 3 of her like vital organs or something like that.
It's a delicate little flower, isn't she?
Yes. Well, I mean, in certain ways. I mean, she has a very efficient digestive system.
Yes, 1 meal per 3 days. She can reattach lost limbs. She can walk on the...
Speaking of lost limbs, didn't like Scorpius chop up another one of Pilot's arms?
Yeah, that's sort of what it looks like.
Yeah?
Yeah, because just before, I mean, there's a bit of peril, like the plan works, the ship is irradiated, but at the wrong moment, Pilot wakes up.
As a freak out, yes. Pilot's getting a bit of a bum...
Bum rap.
Well, not a bum rap, but he's like getting a bit of a, unfortunate... he's feeling all of Moya's pain, which there's a lot of.
And he is himself infected with the fungus as well.
Oh, that was like, ooh. That like looked so like creepy scary when like...
I know!
Like he had this ball of stuff which looked like he was trying to cough up. I thought he was like...
this black ooze.
Yeah, that was like, ooh, super scary. But yes, just as...
I wonder what it was like for the creature shop, because they just made a brand new skin.
I was thinking of that. Like they went like...
Just prettied up this
puppet, and now we have to hang moss over it and have goo running out of its orifices, and...
I bet they loved it.
Probably.
That was actually the other
yes.
only note that I had, that the creature shop actually went back to the script department, which they don't very often do, and said, "Hey, can you put in a scene where we actually see the master plant?" There isn't a master plan. Yeah, but if there was, then we're going to do Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. Okay, back to your lab, nerd.
I mean, that could have been, a pilot like that. But yes, so what happens is like they have the DRD spread around. They're going to like shoot. Apparently, all the DRDs can shoot now. 1812 is in charge. He's becoming the chief DRD. It seems almost.
Yeah.
And just as Rigel is meant to give the command to shoot,
Pilot wakes up.
Well-ho! Too close to well-ho!
And grabs him by the neck and holds him away.
Yeah.
And Scorpius has to fight his way free from the restraints that he's in.
Yep,
and
which he does with surprising ease.
Yeah.
It's like he's kind of been faking it that he couldn't get out of those so far. So he's again like allowing himself to be captured. But now he just like those chains, they go pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think he basically lops off one of
It
Pilot's
does
arms.
sort of
It looks like that.
Or at least whacks it.
Yeah.
Pilot's in distress. Rigel is free.
Rigel takes ages to find this huge button right in front of his nose.
Oh, that's later. So when it comes to the firing sequence,
that works.
He pushes that one.
Sorry, it's the other one. Yeah,
and then it takes ages because the fans are on, and Chiana and John are being sucked into it. Turn off the fans. Turn off the fans. And
so
that took way too long. I think the episode was running a bit short.
Oh, that could have been the case. Yeah. So what happens is they shoot the the gas, the whole ship flashes up with a nice radioactive flash, which we see because we get a good look of John's skeleton for a moment there.
You get full X-ray of...
Yeah, if you get that amount of radiation that you can see that, then, the suit's not going to help. Because he's wearing the suit and you can see the bones through the suit. We'll give them some artistic license here.
Yeah.
They're using a trope of, I guess, almost a cartoonesque trope.
All rays are X-rays.
Oh, yes. And then we get the scene where they are still in the fan room. There's a lot of wind coming from those fans.
So long.
And there's peril. Chiana gets sucked away. John grabs her. Raj has to turn the fans off and he can't find the enormous button which is right in front of his nose the entire time.
Well, he just eventually picks a random one which happens to be the same
right one. Yeah.
that he pressed before, that did fire before. But
Which then saves Chiana. There's a little quip about her keeping her pants on even though they're kind of sagging.
You still got your pants on.
Well, that'd be a first.
That's a good look.
Yes, because he Crichton held on by her pants, I think literally grabbed her by the crotch that has been sagging way down.
Yep. Yeah. So so that was the peril plot, and the only part in that is that Lola actually has to push Moya out of the way of the re-emerging wormhole, which is
powerful ship,
which is again a little bit more manufactured peril. Well, let's call it that.
The captain says, abandon ship.
Cargo. Can your vessel pull us clear? Buy us time.
I hardly believe it's worth the effort. This Leviathan is gone.
Lola could move Moya, but is it worth the risk?
To put a little suspense on it. But all of this is really just window dressing for the B plot.
Which is gossip.
Yes.
Out of control gossip.
If I hear any gossip, a joke in the officers' club, anything at all.
Yes. I'm so glad that you agree that this is what the episode is about. Because it begins when Chiana and Aeryn are out doing their inspection, and Aeryn decides she's gotten herself ready to talk to John, and then this happened, and she can't sort of let it out.
Yeah,
so
she kind of has to keep talking. Yeah. So she tells Chiana, I'm pregnant, and it might not be John's.
Oh, you mean the other Crichton?
No.
Maybe not that one either.
Maybe not that one either, yes.
Oh, my God.
And I'm kind of surprised, or maybe even amazed, that Chiana doesn't ask the obvious question.
Okay, so there is a deleted scene here in this episode that I happened to watch as part of my research. I didn't have it queued up, but it's a similar scene where she and Aeryn are talking, and she gives her some advice on men.
Most men. Toys. Use, abuse, lose. Simple. But not the one. You know the one. Him, you stay close to.
Men are easy, says Chiana, and then Aeryn chuckles. Well, yeah, because you are. Which I can understand why that was taken. I mean, it was fun banter between friends.
Right.
But so in that context, does it occur to Chi that it would occur to Aeryn to stay monogamous as a condition of a relationship?
Well, I'm not even thinking of it as at a relationship level. I'm thinking of it as an opportunity level.
Oh, yeah. When did you have time to...
Yeah. When did you get laid? When did you tell me?
There again, probably she's been getting her itch scratched whenever she wants to.
Right.
When she gets the itch, she's a hot-blooded young woman. No, she is a self-declared sexual libertine, so whenever she goes down to a planet, she'll probably find some opportunity.
Fair enough, and she might be thinking that Aaron's been doing the same, although I'd like to think that she... Well, I would not like to think, but I would assume that she knows that that's not Aaron's way of doing things, but yeah.
Sure, but there are things that we all do that we assume are so normal that everyone does them. Right, and some of them can be like, I don't know, sleeking a little burp or fart when you really need to, because you just need to every now and again, right? Which we don't publicly acknowledge, but we know we all do. But we actually don't know that we all do, right?
I suppose not. Yeah.
And then there are some things that are sort of culturally determined. And sex is the sexual bodily functions are a really good example about that, because not everyone has the same sex drive, but we have some of us have hormones or other bodily functions.
Fair point. But yes, so
what I'm saying is, like, without judgment, right? It might not occur to Chi that everyone is as slutty as I am, but it might occur to her everyone is just a regular person like I am, and regular people do this.
Yeah, and she might have had her little chance of nookie. It's still, admirable that she doesn't ask, like, who then? You'd still be curious, like, okay, look, again, on the whole gossip things, like, not John. Who? Because I didn't notice you getting any nookie. Like, when did this happen? Like, tell me more about it. Like, tell me more.
Yeah, and Aeryn sort of asserts, "Hey, but I don't want John to know this, all right?"
Yeah,
and
I'll
she
tell
is
him.
really heartfelt. No, that's your speech to make. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, and don't tell anybody else either.
No, she doesn't say that,
doesn't she?
No,
she just
that's
said,
a
"Don't tell
mistake.
John." Right? Yes.
So she immediately, first opportunity,
tells Dargo.
No,
I swear.
And then also tells the bit that Aeryn doesn't know who it is, but Crichton mustn't know.
Yes.
Who told you this?
You can see her hesitate there.
She just realizes what she's done.
Rigel told me.
She's
blame it on Rigel.
She's such a teenager. Oh, she's so. Now this is sort of college age 20-somethings when you think that you're being really mature with the information, then you realize, oh no, I'm still a dipshit.
Well, yes, I mean, that gets like turned around immediately after, because the next time she and Aeryn are talking, Aeryn goes like, yeah, that conversation, can you forget about that? I really didn't want that information out of there. This is where
Yes, exactly.
She's been prepping for the talk, and everything she wanted to say had to come out, and it came out to Chana instead of to John.
And now, so she's vented, she's actually been able to sort of think about it. And she said, I'm not even sure I'm going to tell John.
Yeah.
So can we just forget about it? And she's like, yep, no problem.
And she's like, because Dargo, being the good friend he is, immediately when the opportunity comes around, let him know that John is.
She even asks Dargo, hey, you can't tell John. And Dargo won't make that promise.
Yeah.
He won't make that promise. And I thought this was really good, because he goes to John and he tells him, like,
I know Erin's pregnant. Gianna told me.
She heard from Rigel. Okay, so the whole ship knows. Well, I don't think Moya knows.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah.
She probably doesn't care. And he tells Crichton that Aeryn doesn't know whether it's John Crichton's. That's how she says it, how he says it. Like, immediately covering those bases. Could be the other John. And that's a bit of a blow to John.
Yes. He's like, oh, whoa, what's been going on here?
And Dargo's ready for him, and also sort of like tells him, hey, either way you're going to get hurt, so be ready.
Yeah.
Which is a really good sort of friend move to do.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way that this is not going to be painful.
This just sucks.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm going to give you the information, I'm going to give you the opportunity to make these choices yourself. Which I thought was... I mean, I've got it written down how sensitive Dargo is.
Right, he's got the best pep talks. I noticed that at another place in the episode as well.
Oh, with Rigel, right?
Yes, when he's
yes, when he finds Rigel sulking up in the command and not doing the function that he was supposed to be doing there, and he immediately understands why that is, and he says, you shouldn't blame yourself.
Yeah. Oh, but I was the cat, and this is where I'm like, come to the point where Rigel, he knows responsibility and he feels responsible, and this is actually one of the first few times that he actually shows that he feels responsibility, and because he was in command, he was the captain. It happened on his watch, even though there was nothing he could have done to prevent it. He still feels responsible.
Rigel, you're often insufferable. But, it's not your fault.
I was captain.
Yes, you were, and pilot's pilot, and Moya's a Leviathan. No matter what orders you give, they're not going to fly into something they can't sense.
But this plant, this fungus...
Didn't register.
Still, I was in charge.
And that's
really like that.
Interesting insight into Rigel's psyche.
Because he'll always blame someone else.
Yeah.
But that's a sort of strategic thing that, as a dictator, you sort of have to do. But in his internal world, he still feels it. And Dargo gives him a great pep talk, which is say, "Okay, this is not your fault. There are so many better reasons to hate yourself than this,"
which is fantastic.
Like sulking, while others are out there risking their lives.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like hate yourself for the things you are doing wrong, not for the things that you can't have no control over.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dargo's fantastic like that.
Which makes it, like, in retrospect, unsurprising how the election goes.
Yes. Oh, hang on, are we done with the whole... We're not done with the gossip talk yet.
No, but I think the last part of the gossip is the very, very end.
Yes, okay.
Between John and Aeryn.
Fair enough.
So let's do the election, because last episode, Pilot and Moya asked for a captain.
Mm-hmm.
A single voice for us to follow.
And who, like, did you have an idea who that was going to be?
Oof. I honestly expected there would be more infighting on the whole matter. I kind of expected that there was going to be a bit of more argument, at least on-screen argument, between the crew about who should be captain.
I did too.
So, no, I didn't actually give it any consideration because I wanted to see how that developed.
Yes, exactly. Because, like, even like when we were recording the last episode, it didn't occur to me to ask you to hypothesize, because I sort of thought, again, I haven't seen season 4 in quite a while.
Yeah.
I thought it would take much longer to get to the resolution, and we'll have some fun, like bickering and arguing.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, like, okay, what are we doing here? Like how the election came out, because there was like
all right. I wrote down the votes.
Right.
For you, if you unless you have them yourself. But
no, go on. I tried to like write it down from what I remembered. So
okay,
1 vote for Rigel by Rigel.
Yes. Right.
No, of course. Yes. 1 vote for Scorpius by Sikozu.
Yeah, we get a close up on her.
She's got that puppy love look on her.
Yeah.
1 vote for Aeryn. I'm thinking.
Now, who do you think?
John.
Okay,
I think John.
My first thought was Pilot, and then I crossed that out.
Yeah.
I'll get to who it was later. The Divine Eternal, which was Noranti, who wasn't on the ballot.
I think so, yeah. So I wasn't sure, like, okay, I didn't catch on that fact that was something else entirely. I thought for a moment there that Noranti was being referred to as the Divine Eternal.
It could well be.
But yeah, there's like definitely
Well, we haven't
there.
heard that before, but
right.
I think it was just like a write-in.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was 4 for Dargo.
Yeah.
I don't think Dargo would have voted for himself. And so, I think that the vote for Aeryn would have to be Dargo.
Okay, I think Dargo would vote for himself.
Now, sensitive Dargo, who understands the sort of burden of leadership?
Yes, I think so. I mean, he definitely would have in the past.
Without question. He tried to elevate himself to captaincy in episode 2.
This ship needs a leader, and none of you have what it takes. From now on, I am in charge.
I think he would still do that. I mean, he could. So, but it is. I mean, I give you a good point that there's our vote for Aeryn could have come both from John and from Dargo, especially in the light of the conversation that happens after we get the results of the vote.
Yes.
Because John and Aeryn, it's a little bit, like he might not be so much into. I mean, he's still into her, but.
Ooh, actually
voting for her as captain. I mean, he might still be able to think that she would make a good captain.
Whoa, I'm actually coming back around because there's more at play. Like, Aeryn did abandon Moya, leave Moya, but so did everyone else.
Yeah.
But she trusts Scorpius, and so like, Pilot would have voted for Aeryn at any point in the series, but now that she left him,
she might have voted for Dargo. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, true.
Oh, it's really tricky. I'm captivated. Actually, to the readers at home, I don't think we have a good way to communicate because sofarscape@gmail.com was already taken, and in a huff, then I didn't find another email address to fill in. But go ahead and go to sofarscape.com/submit. That's the one.
Yes.
And use the sort of submissions for episodes.
Tell us who you think would have voted for who put the vote in and why.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know that.
Yeah.
And put those in 407. So we'll definitely find them. It'll be very confusing when we get to 407.
And those going to might have to be a little.
And some of them are going to be synopses, and some of them are going to be stories. But that's okay. We'll figure it out.
And then we'll have a little back talk about that at some later point. Yes. Okay.
And then we get the final sort of scene between John and Aeryn.
Yes. The big conversation between John and Aeryn.
Yeah.
Because there's more to be. I mean, it kind of ended like this last time round as well.
With a lot being unsaid
yes.
then. We didn't see Aeryn being prepared to really say anything.
No.
And this time, we didn't see Aeryn being prepared to really say anything.
Yes.
And this time she is.
But now everything gets explained. Because it turns out like, I know about the fact that you're pregnant and I know that the fact that it might not be mine. So we learn little new factoids about peacekeeper anatomy that they can delay pregnancies.
Ha-ha.
Not even can they delay, it kind of happens automatically. If you're born on a command carrier, then basically whenever you get pregnant, it gets delayed and only a physician can release it and continue the pregnancy.
And that, so it can be up to 7 cycles, so she might have been pregnant before they knew each other. Although one would imagine that that's the kind of thing that would show up in periodic physical...
You'd think so,
right?
Yeah. That's a very good point, actually. Still also doesn't know how Granny knew this, but... and why suddenly now she leaves because of this whole pregnancy issue. So it leads to believe that it's a more recent event.
Oh, she found out about it and on the command carrier, where she probably did have her periodic physical.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I only found out on the command carrier, and I haven't had it DNA tested yet.
And that one shows that she would... Maybe it's an annual or a cyclical kind of thing.
Right, but she hadn't had access to... Well, I mean, that kind of suggests that it either happened in the last year before she got like...
Maximum, you'd imagine, right?
Yeah. And somewhere in the period in between.
Yep.
So, I mean, the options in that case are John, what's his face from Look at the Princess.
Oh, did she bang him?
We don't know, but they could. I mean...
No, I think he just broke his leg.
I mean, that wasn't her fault.
No, it also wasn't. Okay, well, fine.
She was clearly into him, so there might have been banging involved.
Hell yeah. Velarek was like 2 years or more before
the
show started.
Shouldn't be. I mean, assuming that like they would have picked it up before she had the incident with Moya.
Yeah,
that would have been unlikely to be Velarek's, but. There might have been other recreational activities. You don't know.
She was into Larac.
Yeah. True.
She did get gene spliced with Pilot. Hey, let's not forget about that one.
Oh.
Just occurred to me right now.
Good point.
But that could be an interesting hypothesis for this series that I've definitely already seen. Okay. Yeah, you had mentioned this biological ability before, and I remember being very proud of my poker face going, oh, really? Are there animals that couldn't delay their pregnancy? Oh, that's amazing, Kay. Oh, tell me more.
Also, I only just noticed, why are they having this conversation in the fan room?
I know.
I guess they wanted to show off the new set.
I know, yeah, that's probably it. Like, we spent ages building this. Or maybe he's doing repairs. Maybe he's repairing the broken fan.
But, John's not really buying it. Like, well, he's buying it, but he's telling them, they're like, I can't trust you emotionally. It's like, I'll trust you with my life, but I can't trust you with my heart.
Because he knows that she doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
And that's, like, relationship, the way he says it.
A relationship. The kind we're not having. It's based on trust.
And, like, it took her this long to sort of figure out these are the bits of information that I'm prepared to tell John. And John realizes, okay, this is a perfect alibi, but you came here through, like, a process of elimination and strategy. Because this is the truth and that's what you share with the person that you share your life with.
Yeah, and she's clearly like, okay, so what do I need to do to write this? It's not even the words. Like,
this is such a fantastic sort of reversal of traditional gender roles in storytelling.
Oh yeah, it's very
where normally it's the man who is asking, because women are mysterious and their hearts are unlovable depths of confusion, who ask, what do I need to do to make it right? and then not receiving an answer. And that's the case, the situation that she finds herself in. Because what John says is, come back when you've got your story straight.
Yeah, which I thought it was a little bit weird, because that seems to imply that he still think that she's lying. Like, when you got your story straight, that sounds like something you say, like, yeah, you whatever you're making, you're making something up, and like, work it out when you have the definitive version, and I'll see what I think about that.
Because I think in this case, she's not telling him anything that's untrue.
No.
But he doesn't know whether she's telling him everything that is true.
Yes. I mean, it's like the truth, but not necessarily the whole truth.
Right.
Yeah.
She hasn't earned that trust from him through her actions. Like, she could have told him all this last episode straight away, but instead she chose to think about what she was and wasn't going to tell him. So even if it's all true, which she doesn't necessarily have to believe, right? She
still has built up a history of withholding information.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think in this moment that he knows for sure that she's being honest when she says she doesn't know who the father is.
Yes.
Even disregarding whether that matters to him. Of course it matters.
Yeah.
But, it matters somewhat. We don't know to which degree. Because there are lots of families that are not as, like, genetically nuclear, and that is a totally valid form of family. Adoption, surrogacy, various people's, like, reproductive histories or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really good episode for sort of showing men setting their emotional boundaries.
Yeah.
Which is not something that you see very often, to really sort of consider their vulnerability and to do that together. Because there's a real sort of boys' club and girls' club going on for like people who have shared experiences opening up to one another.
Mm-hmm.
Rigel and Dargo and Crichton, Aeryn and Chi, certainly do very good. Chi and Sikozu, also a little bit, because you mentioned that like she was showing herself being top dog. I think that's certainly there as well. But I think there's also a little bit she was maybe like worried for Sikozu. She was maybe like,
yes, like be careful of
right,
Scorpius. He's more dangerous than you think.
Tough love kind of thing, like like a big sister who maybe doesn't express her emotions quite so well.
And even if you don't know why, this is still something you should be aware of, and she does it in her typically heavy-handed way.
Yeah, and Sikozu and Naranti in her own way as well. Gosh, there are really a lot of conversations between like women amongst themselves and men amongst themselves in this episode. I really love that.
I also kind of dig how Scorpius is. I mean, he's not like part of the crew, but he's proven useful several times now, and he's kind of like it happens to be like the thing they said, which didn't turn out to be the final solution, but it led them to the solution to the problem.
I mean, he did encourage everyone to abandon the Dire Leviathan because he is an absolutist when it comes to survival.
But he also saved the day by taking Rigel literally out of Pilot's clutches.
While also showing that he was honest when he said that he's on that ship by choice.
Yeah.
They're not keeping him there, right?
He could have gotten out of those chains sooner, and he probably couldn't get out of the prison cell. He probably chose to be in that prison cell.
If he didn't already, I mean, that's what Sikozu thinks.
Yeah.
That he can already just sort of light fires outside to get some attention, and like she absolutely loves that. Okay, so this means we have quite a challenging button ahead of us.
Yep.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
All right. Well, my willy is Pilot going in his completely. That scene actually gave me like oh my god, that looks horrible and terrifying and like a little bit disgusting, and gunk. That's definitely an easy willy.
Yes. Agreed. I think I'm going to have to join you. Because, I mean, if you hadn't been so against the unaerodynamic nature of those fans, I might have had a little conniption about it. But I've got to be contrary. I've got to stand up when you stand against.
Fair.
Oh, no. My willy is for the protected fan scene at the end.
Oh, yes.
That sort of unearned peril that just went on for too long.
I mean, the episode kind of leaned quite heavily on that anyway, with the whole plant thing going on, putting Moya in danger. But no, they had to also do I mean, not literally. I mean, almost literally a cliffhanger, except the cliff was a fan in this case.
Yeah, and like all peril is of course manufactured, which is totally fine. But if it comes down to Rigel, like sitting there waiting for Rigel to choose which button to press, like that's not.
Yes, and
there's no emotional turmoil. There's no. So that's it for me.
All right. Okay, then the Woodies.
Yes.
I mean, okay, I dug how much we got to see about Granny's third eye. That was kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
I
nice.
also dug the ski goggles and the breathing mask that everybody was wearing all throughout the episode. But I think it's going to have to go to John's EL wire spacesuit. Because that looks so cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's actually worn that before.
Yeah, it just like stood out a little bit more to me this time, I guess. It was like, I mean, because he wears it like almost throughout the episode after he goes out with Dargo onto the outside of the ship for the first time.
Yeah. I think he first got that on Talon.
Oh, that seems like a Talon kind of thing.
Yeah, Green-Eyed Monster, that's when they had those. But yeah, he looks so Tron.
I mean, what did he wear when they were stuck beside the Budong? I mean, that was on Talon, so that might have
That was the episode. That was the first time we saw it.
Yeah,
so before that, it's just been these like polyester, leather, pleather, kind of black
if it wasn't his own suit from the module.
Oh, yeah, also that. And his like space football helmet.
All right, so you're Woody.
Oh, tricky. Actually, I was sort of retroactively like rescinding my own Willy for not having Audrey 2 as the. No.
I mean, you can't have a Willy for something that's not in the episode.
Exactly. So I guess like the heart-to-heart conversations, like not even the sort of Chinese whispers kind of game of
that was fun.
Of
but
telephone
it's like,
was lots of fun, but like people really talking about what they're feeling and like advancing as characters, like they're modeling sort of good behavior, which is not necessarily that they're all particularly emotionally insightful, but they care about each other enough to really think about what they're going through and to want to help one another.
Yeah,
honestly.
So, and that's the story so far, Farscape.
You can join us next week for another fanfic. Let's see if we can find another one at Terra Firma or otherwise. Whoa! Oh, yes, I have it sitting right here. Kay, I am super behind on the delivery of your mailbag.
Oh,
because
we have another episode of the Farscape magazine.
Calling them episodes, you weirdo.
It's a what is it? What's the word? It's a
issue.
Issue. Thank you. Yes.
Oh, okay, but that has biological connotations.
I don't have issues. I've got a whole subscription. John in leather pants again.
So this episode is Farscape. What does it say? It's number what?
It is number. Oh, where is it? 4. Number 4.
Number 4, and this is the
Cosmic
end of
Girls,
season
the female
already.
of the species. She's the one.
Yep.
Gigi actually chats about Shana. New Crichton story by Farscape writer Lily Taylor.
Maybe we'll do that one.
Q and Hay. Zahn interrogated. So this was like
second half of season 3, toward the end of season 3, like they actually talk with Virginia Hay about her departure and the final scenes. There's also some mention of like the women behind the scenes, although the story is told mostly by David Kemper, so not fully passing the Bechdel test. Oh look, there's a big group photo of the entire production team.
Oh, and
a massive group photo,
massive matte painting, which looks like one of the cities, I suppose, that we've seen at some point.
Yeah. Oh. They got a big psych behind them.
It's always hard to like leaf through one of these and explain what I'm seeing while I'm going through this magazine. It's like, this is exciting.
This is so good.
Like little gasp of air, like another sound of a page turning. So, I'm gonna have fun with this.
Oh, and take a look at the very back cover.
The little the figurines, yes.
I know, the action figures.
Yes.
Like so many
Captain
nerds out there,
Crace.
Kicking myself that I didn't invest some of my pocket money at the time in these absolutely ungettable toys.
Rigel with a big hookah, yes.
He's got the hookah.
The hookah, yeah.
And Scorpius has the things in the side of his head. Every now and again, I look on eBay to see whether maybe one of them has reached the market for like an affordable price, because
Yeah.
we have promised our Patreon subscribers that
It
if
will
there's
be
any
only spent
leftover
on stupid things.
and
Yes.
like a little action, sort of posable action figure, even two if we can make them kiss. Because
Oh dear, that would be amazing. Here, a gorgeous shot of Gigi doing some poi spinning on set.
Yeah, showing off her acrobatics.
Yes.
There's also a photo
Her
of
trapezoid skills.
Jewel showing off her gymnastics at a Farscape convention. Man, if we could have a time machine and just go back and how wonderful would that be?
Fanboy out there, yes,
Yeah,
that
right.
would be amazing. Like back in the days. I shiver with excitement.
All right,
Anyway,
so that's for you to enjoy. Next week we'll have a fanfic for our friends of the show to enjoy, and after that,
episode 407.
Yeah,
John Quixote. How weird can things get when trapped in a game based on John Crichton's exploits? Very.
Very. Yes, that's right. Thank you for joining us once again. You can find us at Farscape on Facebook and Twitter. Send us your submissions or your sort of like who
Theory
you
on
thought
who
was
voted.
going to
Yes,
be.
who was the one who voted for Aeryn?
Send that to us in sofarscape.com/submit and make sure that goes to 407. Actually, now that I'm realizing this, by the time that this airs, 407 will be closed. So just pick whatever the next number is going to be and we'll do that.
Good point. Yes.
It's timey-wimey,
Yes,
how we do
we
recordings.
record this a few weeks ahead of time, so it's...
There's also sofarscape.com/synopsis if you have an idea for a fanfic that you want to read. Although, honestly, like between the magazines and Terra Firma Scapers, we're probably going to be good for a while. And of course, sofarscape.com/support if you want to help fund our quest for one of these action figures, which I'm now realizing, like, hey, we have some significant contributions from our fans. Like, we're paid back the money that we spent on our recording equipment, our hosting's been covered, our subscription on the audio editing is covered. But we're going to need to like triple or quintuple our income if we're going to afford one of these action figures by the end of the year.
They go for that kind of money.
It's insane.
That is insane. Oof.
Our friend Bostich has one. He has a Zan.
Oh.
Which he will not be parting with.
Well,
He's already
no,
informed me.
I can't imagine that he would. Yes, so...
Thank you for joining us. We love you all. So Farscape. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good. I almost got it right.
Yeah, almost.
Thanks, man.